The Science of Decision-Making, Decoding the Art of Choices. Written and published by Mindful Literary. Welcome to The Science of Decision-Making, Decoding the Art of Choices, an audiobook designed to illuminate the intricate dance between logic, emotion, and intuition that governs every choice we make. Whether you're deciding what to eat for dinner or choosing the next big step in your career, the process of decision-making is a constant in our lives. But how much do we truly understand about the forces that shape our choices? Every decision you make, no matter how small or significant, carries a ripple effect. From your brain's neurological wiring to the subtle influence of cultural norms and the overwhelming flood of information in the digital age, decision-making is as much a science as it is an art. This audiobook aims to unravel these complexities, offering you a deeper understanding of what drives your choices and how you can refine your approach to decision-making for better outcomes. What this audiobook offers. In The Science of Decision-Making, we will dive deep into the psychology and neurology behind decisions, explore how cognitive biases, emotions, and even neurotransmitters influence your judgment. The decision-making process. Break down the stages, from gathering information to weighing the pros and cons. The impact of external factors, including culture, time, technology, and group dynamics. The power of intuition. When to trust your gut and how to integrate instincts with rationality. Tools, frameworks, and strategies to improve decision-making, both personally and professionally. Why it matters. Your decisions shape your reality. Whether they lead to success, regret, or valuable lessons, they are the building blocks of your life. Understanding the science behind your choices will not only empower you to make better decisions, but will also help you navigate uncertainty, manage risk, and align your actions with your values and goals. This audiobook is your guide to mastering the art of decision-making. Through a blend of psychological insights, scientific research, and practical tools, will help you uncover your decision-making strengths, overcome common pitfalls, and craft a personalized strategy that works for you. So, take a moment to pause, reflect, and prepare to delve into the fascinating world of choices. By the end of this journey, you'll be equipped not just with knowledge, but with actionable techniques to transform how you make decisions in every area of your life. Let's decode the art of choices together. Chapter 1. Understanding Decision-Making. The Basics of Decision Theory. Decision theory is the study of how individuals or groups make choices when faced with uncertainty. It encompasses several fundamental principles that guide us in navigating the complex terrain of decision-making. First, it requires an understanding of preferences, which are essentially the likes and dislikes of the decision-makers. A key tenet of decision theory is that decisions are made to maximize utility, which can be thought of as the satisfaction we derive from the choices we make. Additionally, the concept of rationality plays a crucial role. Rational decisions are typically based on the best available information and analysis rather than on impulses or emotions. It's fascinating to consider how our experiences and knowledge shape these preferences, as well as the external factors that can influence our decision-making processes. To further comprehend decision-making, it's essential to explore the foundational models that underpin this field. One prominent model is the normative model, which prescribes how decisions should be made to achieve the best outcomes. This model often uses mathematical frameworks to analyze choices logically, assuming that decision-makers have clear goals and access to all relevant data. On the other hand, there is the descriptive model, which focuses on how real people make decisions in practice. This model acknowledges that decision-making can be messy, often influenced by biases, emotions, and cognitive limitations. Then there's the prescriptive model, offering tools and methods to improve decision-making processes in practical scenarios. By understanding these models, we can gain insights into our behavior and, ideally, refine our approach to making decisions. As we delve deeper into decision theory, a practical takeaway emerges. Always be aware of your biases. Awareness is the first step toward making more rational choices. By actively reflecting on how various influences, such as stress or emotional state, might affect your judgments, you can begin to navigate decisions with greater clarity. This self-awareness not only aids in personal decision-making, but also enhances collaborative processes when working in teams or groups. Remember, the art of making effective decisions is not just about selecting the best option, but understanding the paths that lead us there. The role of emotions in choices. Emotions play a significant role in the choices we make every day. I often reflect on how my feelings shape my decisions, sometimes in ways that surprise me. When faced with a choice, I notice that my emotional state can tip the scales. For example, when I'm excited or happy, I'm more likely to take risks and choose options that align with those positive feelings. Conversely, when I feel anxious or sad, my choices tend to lean towards safety and familiarity. This emotional influence is not just a personal phenomenon, it is an intrinsic part of human nature. Research supports that our emotional reactions can dramatically alter our decision-making context, making it crucial to be aware of how we feel when confronted with important choices. It's fascinating to identify the emotional triggers that commonly alter our decisions. Often, these triggers are tied to our past experiences or deeply held beliefs. For instance, a simple comment from a colleague can spark feelings of inadequacy in me, leading me to second-guess my decisions long after the conversation has ended. Similarly, positive feedback can boost my confidence and propel me forward with a renewed sense of purpose. Recognizing these emotional triggers helps us understand why we sometimes make choices that seem irrational in hindsight. By paying closer attention to our emotions, we can start to navigate our decision-making processes with greater clarity, allowing us to separate transient feelings from the factors that truly matter. Understanding the intricate link between emotions and decisions also opens up pathways for deeper self-awareness. It's worth establishing moments of reflection where I can ask myself how I'm feeling and how it might be affecting the choices on my plate. A practical tip to harness this awareness is to pause before making a decision, especially in emotionally charged situations. Taking a moment to breathe and assess what I'm feeling can lead to more intentional choices, rather than defaulting to knee-jerk reactions that stem from temporary emotions. By cultivating this habit, I can improve the quality of my decisions and ultimately my life. Rational versus irrational decisions. Decision-making is a part of our daily lives, whether we realize it or not. Rational decision-making often involves a systematic process where we gather information, analyze options, and consider outcomes before arriving at a conclusion. This logical approach is grounded in facts and figures, allowing us to make choices that have the best chance of success. In contrast, irrational decision-making happens when emotions, biases, or poor reasoning influence our choices, leading us to conclusions that might not make sense in hindsight. Think about when we purchase an expensive item on impulse, driven by advertisement allure rather than actual need. It's a classic example of how our feelings can override rational thought. Understanding this difference helps us see that our decisions can be shaped by internal and external factors. For instance, fear of missing out, FOMO, can drive us to make decisions that we would not choose if we were calmly weighing the pros and cons. Recognizing these patterns in ourselves can help us catch these irrational tendencies before they lead us astray. When I reflect on my own choices, I can pinpoint moments when my emotions clouded my judgment, showing me the importance of a mindful approach to decision-making. We can find countless examples of decisions that don't align with rational thought. Take the stock market, for example. Investors often buy into trends rather than based on the actual value of the companies. I remember witnessing a friend sell his stock during a market dip, fueled by panic rather than analysis. Later, the stock rebounded, illustrating how fear can lead to hasty and irrational choices that go against sound judgment. Another clear instance is the commitment to unhealthy habits, like smoking or overeating. People often know the harms associated with these behaviors, yet continue to indulge. This contradiction can stem from a variety of reasons: stress relief, social pressure, or even momentary pleasure. It's fascinating to consider how cognitive dissonance plays a role here, where the justification of short-term gratification overshadows long-term health. Recognizing these behaviors allows us to question our motivations and, hopefully, empower us to make decisions that align with our values. Next time you're faced with a choice, take a moment to pause and reflect on whether your decision stems from thoughtful consideration or is driven by emotion. This simple practice can serve as a powerful tool to navigate the complexities of rational versus irrational decisions, ultimately leading to more satisfying outcomes. Chapter 2: The Psychology Behind Decisions. Cognitive biases and their impact. Cognitive biases are systematic patterns of deviation from norm or rationality in judgment. They stem from the brain's attempt to simplify information processing. Throughout our lives, we experience countless inputs and situations that our minds must interpret. Instead of meticulously analyzing every detail, our brains rely on shortcuts, which can sometimes lead us astray. I have encountered these biases in my decision-making, often without even realizing it. For instance, when we hear a piece of information that confirms what we already believe, we tend to accept it without skepticism. This is known as confirmation bias, and it subtly shapes our opinions, making us more resistant to alternative viewpoints. By recognizing these patterns, we can improve our clarity of thought and decision-making, which is a crucial step toward personal growth and understanding ourselves better. To navigate through these cognitive biases, active reflection and openness are essential strategies. Maintaining awareness of how biases can influence my thinking helps me make more informed decisions. I've learned to pause and ask myself if my feelings and judgments are based on solid evidence or if they are colored by cognitive distortions. Developing a habit of seeking diverse perspectives and challenging my preconceptions can significantly reduce the impact of these biases. This practice reinforces a more nuanced understanding of the situations at hand, enhancing both my judgment and empathy toward others' viewpoints. The influence of social norms. Societal expectations often dictate the choices we make, sometimes without us even realizing it. As I reflect on my own decisions, I find that they are often influenced by the invisible hand of social norms. For instance, consider the way we dress in public. When I choose my outfit in the morning, I might not consciously think about what is deemed appropriate or fashionable, but those societal cues are subliminally guiding my selection. This unconscious behavior highlights how ingrained social standards are in shaping our daily choices, from what we wear to how we interact with others. Walking into a new setting, whether it's a workplace or a casual gathering, I often catch myself scanning the room to gauge what is expected. This process demonstrates the subtle yet powerful influence that social expectations can have on our self-presentation and interactions. There are numerous instances where social norms clearly drive our decision-making behavior. I've seen this play out in various contexts, whether it's in marketing, friendships, or even political views. For example, the influence of social proof is everywhere. When I see friends raving about a new restaurant, I'm likely to try it myself, even if I initially had no interest. This not only affects my dining choices, but also reflects a broader societal trend where we often lean on the choices of others to inform our own. Another poignant example lies in how we conform to group behaviors, particularly in challenging situations. I remember hearing about a study where individuals chose to stay silent about their true opinions on a topic simply to align with the opinions of their peers. This can sometimes lead to actions that conflict with our values, all in the name of fitting in with the crowd. Such behaviors underscore the pervasive nature of social norms and their ability to influence what we say or do. Being aware of these influences can empower us to make more conscious decisions. It's important to pause and reflect on why we are making a certain choice and whether it aligns with our own beliefs or is merely a response to societal pressure. A practical tip I've found helpful is to take a moment before making choices that may seem instinctual. Asking myself questions like, is this what I genuinely want? Or, am I simply following the crowd? Helps me distinguish between my authentic desires and the pull of external expectations. Recognizing the unseen hand of social norms can lead us toward more intentional living, allowing room for authenticity in a world that often encourages conformity. Understanding motivation and desire. Investigating the psychological drivers behind our choices can be a revealing journey. When reflecting on past decisions, I've often found that underlying motivations play a pivotal role in shaping our lives. We are driven by various factors: ambition, fear, the longing for acceptance, or even the thrill of adventure. Each choice we make, from the mundane to the monumental, often stems from a deeper psychological need. For example, when I decided to change careers, it was not just about seeking a new job. It was about my desire for fulfillment and recognition. Understanding these psychological drivers helps us see ourselves and our choices more clearly, guiding us toward more informed decisions. Desire, while a powerful motivator, can also cloud our judgment and lead to poor decisions. It's fascinating how something so inherent to our nature can sometimes steer us away from our best interests. When I was faced with a big purchase, my desire for the latest gadget overshadowed my financial wisdom. Instead of making a rational choice, I was swept away by the allure of ownership. This tendency is more common than we think. The thrill of desire can create a tunnel vision effect, making it difficult to assess the long-term consequences of our actions. By recognizing when our desires lead us astray, we can cultivate a more balanced approach to decision-making, one that aligns with our true values rather than fleeting wants. One practical tip for navigating the complex interplay of motivation and desire is to pause and reflect before making significant choices. Ask yourself why you want something and whether it aligns with your larger goals. This simple practice can act as a buffer against impulsive decisions, allowing for greater clarity and better outcomes. It's about creating space between desire and action, enabling a clearer vision of what truly matters. Chapter 3. The Decision-Making Process. Stages of decision-making. Making a decision often feels like navigating a winding path, filled with twists and turns that can lead us in unexpected directions. The journey typically begins with recognizing the need to make a choice. This first stage involves identifying the problem or opportunity before us. It's about acknowledging that something requires our attention, whether it's choosing a career direction, deciding on a major purchase, or even figuring out how to spend our weekend. Once we understand what decision needs to be made, we can move on to gathering information. This exploration phase is crucial. It involves collecting relevant data, seeking advice, or even pondering past experiences that may inform our choices. The more we know about our options, the clearer our path becomes. The next stage is where we weigh our options. Here, I often find myself reflecting on the pros and cons of each possible choice. This evaluation is where emotions can significantly influence our final decision. For instance, while one option may seem logical on paper, it might feel more appealing or fulfilling at an emotional level. This emotional resonance can often lead to a preference for a particular option, sometimes even overriding rational considerations. After careful evaluation, it's time to make the choice. This moment of decision brings about a mix of relief and apprehension. I've learned that it's essential to commit to the path I chose, aware that second-guessing can introduce unnecessary doubt. Finally, following the decision comes the stage of review. This is paramount as it involves reflecting on the outcome and assessing whether the choice served its intended purpose. This stage allows us to learn and grow, guiding future decisions. Every decision we make, whether big or small, shapes the fabric of our lives. Understanding these stages can be empowering, enhancing our ability to navigate choices with clarity and confidence. One practical tip to remember is to keep a decision journal where you jot down your thoughts at each stage of the process. Over time, not only will this help you understand your own decision-making patterns, but it will also equip you with insights that can lead to better choices in the future. The role of information gathering. Gathering relevant information before making a decision is crucial. I've found that the more informed I am, the better the choices I can make. It's surprising how often people dive into decisions without fully understanding all the variables at play. When I take the time to collect data, I not only minimize the risk of making a poor choice, but I also empower myself to navigate complex situations with confidence. If I'm deciding on a career change, for instance, I look into industry trends, salaries, job satisfaction, and even the cultural fit of prospective companies. By arming myself with this information, I can make a decision that isn't just based on a whim, but rather on a solid foundation of understanding and insight. There are several effective strategies for collecting the right data. One method that works well for me is engaging with both quantitative and qualitative sources. I delve into statistics and reports for concrete data, but also seek out personal testimonials and expert opinions. This dual approach enriches my perspective and can surface insights that raw numbers alone might miss. Additionally, utilizing technology, such as data analytics tools or social media platforms, can streamline my research process. I often find myself analyzing online forums or surveys that highlight a range of experiences and attitudes, which helps to paint a clearer picture of the landscape I'm operating in. By synthesizing various pieces of information, I gather a comprehensive view that guides me in my decision-making journey. It's essential to stay aware of biases that may undermine the information I collect. I often remind myself to approach my research with an open mind, ensuring I'm not just looking for data that confirms my pre-existing beliefs. Keeping a balance between skepticism and receptiveness allows me to critically evaluate what I discover. As I've learned, fostering a habit of continual learning and curiosity can significantly enhance the quality of my information as well as my final decisions. Being proactive and intentional about gathering data not only leads to better outcomes, but also instills a sense of accountability in my choices. Remember, every informed decision contributes to a broader knowledge base that guides future actions and influences the trajectory of your journey. Weighing options, pros and cons. Creating a pro and con list can be one of the simplest yet most effective tools for visually assessing options. When I find myself facing a big decision, I take a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. On one side, I write pros and on the other side, cons. This method allows me to clearly see the advantages and disadvantages of each option. It's a straightforward process, but it's fascinating how it helps organize my thoughts and allows the information to become tangible. By writing everything down, I often uncover insights that I hadn't considered before, and the act of committing my thoughts to paper creates a sense of clarity and focus. I can also physically add to the list over time, adjusting it as new information comes in or my feelings about the options evolve, helping me to feel more engaged in the decision-making process. The psychological impact of weighing benefits and drawbacks is profound. We often get caught up in our emotions when making choices, which can cloud our judgment. However, breaking things down into pros and cons can ground us. I've found that seeing everything laid out can diminish anxiety. Knowing the positives and negatives provides a balanced perspective and helps me consider not just immediate gratification, but also longer-term consequences. It's like creating a mental map that guides me through the murky waters of uncertainty. This method resonates with our natural desire for organization and structure in our thoughts, giving us a sense of control and confidence in our decision-making. Ultimately, the process encourages self-reflection and helps align our choices with our values and goals. One practical tip is to not rush the process. Take your time to really reflect on each point you write down. As you engage with this list, ask yourself deeper questions about each pro and con. What does each benefit really mean to you? What are the real implications of each drawback? Allowing yourself this time not only enriches your understanding, but can also lead to more informed and intentional choices. Chapter 4. The Neurology of Choices. Brain regions involved in decision-making. In exploring the fascinating world of decision-making, I found that several key brain regions are fundamental to how we evaluate choices and make judgments. The prefrontal cortex, located at the front of our brain, stands out as a crucial player. It's deeply involved in planning, reasoning, and social behavior, giving us the ability to weigh consequences and consider future possibilities. Another significant area is the amygdala, which processes emotions and helps us assess risks, especially when our decisions are driven by feelings. The striatum, often associated with reward processing, also plays a critical role as it influences the motivation behind our choices. Each of these regions contributes unique functions that, together, shape our decision-making experience. As I delve deeper into this topic, I realized that these brain areas do not operate in isolation. They communicate and interact continuously during the decision-making process. For instance, when we face a choice, the prefrontal cortex may assess potential outcomes while the amygdala evaluates emotional responses. This dynamic interplay is vital. A heightened emotional response can influence the accuracy of our judgment, tilting the balance in favor of a more impulsive decision. Additionally, the striatum offers feedback based on past experiences, reinforcing behaviors that led to favorable outcomes while discouraging those that resulted in negative consequences. The synchronization among these regions illustrates the complexity of our cognitive operations and shows just how intricate our thought processes can be. Understanding these interactions not only reveals the behind-the-scenes mechanics of our brains, but can also enhance our self-awareness in decision-making. When faced with choices, being cognizant of how emotions, rational thought, and past experiences intertwine can empower us to make more informed decisions. By recognizing the influence of these brain regions, we can nurture a more reflective approach to our choices, ultimately leading to improvements in both personal and professional aspects of our lives. Neurotransmitters and their effects. Neurotransmitters are fascinating chemical messengers that play a vital role in shaping our feelings and decisions. As I delve into the realm of neurobiology, I find it intriguing how these molecules not only affect our mood, but also influence the variety of choices we make in life. When I think about moments when I've felt elated or perhaps a bit down, I can trace those emotions back to neurotransmitter activities in my brain. For example, serotonin is often linked to feelings of happiness, and when its levels are off balance, I notice a subtle shift in my demeanor and perspective. Recognizing this connection has made me more aware of how external factors, like nutrition, exercise, and environment, can either enhance or detract from my mood. Each time I make a choice, whether small or large, there's an intricate dance of neurotransmitters at play that drives my decisions. Dopamine stands out as one of the most captivating players in this chemical orchestra, primarily because of its role in reward-driven behavior. I've experienced how this neurotransmitter fuels my motivations when seeking pleasure or achieving goals. Each time I accomplish something, no matter how trivial it may seem, a rush of dopamine creates a feeling of satisfaction, reinforcing my drive to succeed. It's fascinating to consider that this reward isn't just limited to grand achievements. Even simple things like indulging in a favorite hobby or enjoying a delicious meal trigger a dopamine release. This process makes me realize that decision-making often becomes a balancing act of seeking rewards against potential risks. Understanding this neural reward system offers insights into why we sometimes pursue certain choices desperately, even when they might not serve our long-term interests. Being aware of how neurotransmitters influence my mood and decisions opens up a realm of possibilities. For those looking to achieve a healthy mental state or enhance decision-making, cultivating activities that promote the healthy flow of neurotransmitters is invaluable. Simple practices such as maintaining a balanced diet rich in omega-3 fatty acids, engaging in regular exercise, and practicing mindfulness can help optimize neurotransmitter function. By being mindful of these elements in our lives, we can create an environment that supports a balanced emotional landscape and fosters better decision-making. The science of risk assessment. Understanding how our brains assess risk while making decisions is a fascinating journey into the inner workings of our minds. Every day, we face countless decisions, from choosing what to eat for breakfast to deciding whether to invest in the stock market. At the core of these choices lies our brain's intricate system for evaluating risk. It's not just a logical process. Our emotions play a significant role. The amygdala, often dubbed the fear center of the brain, kicks into action when we perceive danger. This response can sometimes lead to overestimating risks, causing us to avoid situations that could be beneficial. Reflection on moments when our gut has steered us wrong can reveal just how complex our risk assessment processes truly are. We often rely on mental shortcuts or heuristics, which are strategies our brain employs to make quick decisions, but they can lead us astray when evaluating risks. Analyzing factors that contribute to our perception of risk brings us closer to understanding the nuances of our decision-making. One major factor is the context in which we find ourselves. For instance, consider how the same health risk might be perceived differently depending on whether it's presented by a trusted friend or an alarming news report. Our past experiences shape how we react to risk as well. If we once had a bad experience with a certain investment, we might become overly cautious in similar situations even if the circumstances have changed. Cultural backgrounds, societal norms, and even the opinions of those around us significantly influence our perception. All these elements combine to create a unique lens through which we view risk. It's essential to recognize these influences because doing so empowers us to make more informed and balanced choices, rather than relying solely on emotional reactions or societal pressures. Being aware of our brain's risk assessment tendencies and the factors influencing our perceptions can enhance our decision-making skills. Taking a moment to pause and reflect before jumping to conclusions can be invaluable. We should also consider seeking diverse perspectives when assessing a situation. This broadens our understanding and can lead to more balanced evaluations of risk. Remember, it's not just about the numbers or the statistics. It's about the stories and emotions that shape our views. By cultivating awareness of both the scientific and emotional aspects of risk assessment, we can navigate our choices with greater confidence and clarity. Chapter 5: Cultural Influences on Decisions. How culture shapes our choices. Cultural values and beliefs play a pivotal role in the way we make decisions every day. From the foods we choose to eat, the careers we pursue, to the relationships we build, these choices are often deeply rooted in the cultural context we come from. For instance, in some cultures, collectivism is emphasized, meaning individuals are more likely to make decisions that favor the group over personal gain. This might manifest in how families discuss career choices, where the well-being of the family could take precedence over one's ambitions. Contrarily, in more individualistic cultures, personal achievement and self-expression are paramount, driving choices that prioritize individual desires and ambitions. Understanding these dynamics reveals how our cultural upbringing can shape priorities, perspectives, and ultimately, the paths we carve in life. Various cultural factors guide our decisions in countless ways. One fundamental aspect is tradition, which can dictate practices that are held dear over generations. For example, certain societies may hold onto traditional gender roles that influence vocational choices, leading individuals toward careers deemed suitable for their gender. Religion also acts as a major cultural influence, often providing a moral framework for decision-making. Moreover, societal norms regarding success, happiness, and relationships can set invisible boundaries around the choices we feel competent to make. While navigating these cultural influences, it's also crucial to recognize the globalization of culture, where exposure to diverse values and lifestyles can alter traditional decision-making patterns. This blending can offer exhilarating opportunities, but may also create internal conflicts when cultural identities clash. Recognizing and understanding these cultural influences is empowering. By reflecting on the cultural lenses through which we view our choices, we can discern whether we are making decisions that are truly our own or simply following a path laid out by societal expectations. Engaging with diverse perspectives allows us to broaden our horizons and embrace choices that resonate more authentically with our aspirations. It's useful to take a moment to consider how our cultural background shapes our thoughts and actions, and to seek out conversations with people from different cultures can offer insights that enhance our own decision-making process. Cross-cultural decision-making styles. Exploring decision-making styles across cultures reveals a fascinating tapestry of thought processes, values, and influences shaped by social, economic, and historical contexts. For instance, in many Western cultures, decision-making tends to be more individualistic, where personal responsibility and autonomy are at the forefront. This might come across as a straightforward process, often favoring rationality and analytical thinking. On the other hand, cultures such as those in East Asia often prioritize collectivism, resulting in decisions that reflect group harmony and consensus. Here, the approach is usually less about individual assertion and more about how outcomes affect the broader community. When engaging in international business or collaboration, recognizing these differing approaches can prevent misunderstandings and foster more effective communication. It's truly eye-opening to consider how something as fundamental as decision-making can vary so widely, shaped by the deep-seated values of a culture. The implications of these diverse decision-making styles in our globalized world are profound. As we connect more with colleagues, partners, and clients from different backgrounds, our awareness of these styles can enhance our relationships and foster collaboration. For example, while a Western approach might favor quick and assertive decisions that emphasize speed, an Eastern perspective might embrace a slower, more inclusive route that seeks consensus before action. This timing difference can spark friction, but also an opportunity for creativity and innovation if approached with respect and understanding. Furthermore, in a multicultural environment, being adaptable and sensitive to various styles can lead to better outcomes and a stronger team dynamic. Embracing diversity not only enriches decision-making processes, but can also open up new avenues of thought and perspective. One key takeaway is the importance of flexibility. Being willing to adjust your approach when navigating cross-cultural interactions can truly make a difference in achieving mutual success. The role of tradition and heritage. Traditions and heritage play a significant role in shaping our decision-making practices. Whenever I find myself at a crossroads, I often think back to the values and customs that my family instilled in me. These traditions serve as guideposts, influencing not just my choices, but also my understanding of what is right and wrong. Whether it's the way we celebrate milestones or the rituals we uphold in difficult times, these practices weave a complex tapestry of collective memory that informs our present actions. For example, when I face a challenging decision, I recall the wisdom passed down from previous generations, the advice that has stood the test of time. This blend of personal history and cultural narratives often directs my choices, reminding me of the principles that matter most. It's fascinating to realize that every important decision resonates with the echoes of those who came before us, and this connection can empower us to move forward with confidence. However, navigating the delicate balance between tradition and modernity can often feel like a tightrope act. In an ever-evolving world, where technology and new ideas challenge old norms, I find myself questioning which traditions I should embrace and which I might need to reconsider. There are moments when I cherish the comfort of tradition, feeling anchored by its familiar embraces. Yet, other times, I recognize the necessity of adapting to modern realities. For instance, in professional settings, many of us are faced with the expectations of conventional practices versus innovative approaches. I've come to understand that it's not about an outright rejection of tradition, but rather about finding harmonious ways to integrate my heritage into contemporary choices. This integration allows us to honor the past while also paving a path for progress, resulting in a unique blend of values that resonate with both our history and our present identity. Delving deeper into this theme, I believe that examining our traditions can lead to a renewed and profound appreciation for our heritage. By actively engaging with our cultural backgrounds, we gain insights that can enhance our decision-making. One practical tip that often helps me is to pause and reflect on the cultural narratives that inform my choices before making significant decisions. In those moments of reflection, I ask myself how my actions align with both my heritage and my current values. This practice doesn't just lead to more mindful choices. It also helps me become more grounded in my identity as I navigate the complexities of a rapidly changing world. Chapter 6: The Impact of Time. Short-term versus long-term decisions. Understanding the differences between short-term and long-term decisions is crucial for effective decision-making. Short-term decisions often focus on immediate outcomes and are typically concerned with satisfying present needs or desires. These are the choices we make daily, like what to eat for lunch or whether to binge-watch a series tonight. On the other hand, long-term decisions require a broader perspective. They are about envisioning future consequences and how current actions contribute to overarching goals in life, such as career advancement, savings for retirement, or investing in education. It can be tempting to prioritize immediate gratification when faced with decision-making. The allure of quick rewards often cloud our judgment regarding what may be more beneficial in the long run. For instance, indulging in a luxurious vacation may provide instant pleasure, but if it leads to financial strain, it could undermine future stability. This kind of thinking turns our attention away from the potential benefits of waiting and investing in more substantial future gains. Acknowledging this can help us navigate through choices, ensuring we weigh the here and now against what truly matters in life. Practically speaking, whenever you are faced with a decision, ask yourself how it aligns with your long-term goals. Instead of just focusing on what brings you joy in the moment, consider how each choice may impact your future. This reflection can guide you to balance immediate desires with long-lasting fulfillment, ensuring that every decision contributes positively to your life's journey. The role of urgency in choices. Urgency plays a significant role in shaping the decisions we make. When faced with time constraints, I often find myself making choices faster than I would if I had the luxury of time. This rush can lead to a variety of outcomes, some favorable and others less so. The speed of my decisions tends to increase under pressure, but this doesn't always equate to better quality. In fact, I've noticed that with urgency, the quality of my choices can suffer, often resulting in decisions that I later second-guess. The immediate pressure can cloud judgment, making it easy to overlook important details or potential consequences that I would have otherwise considered in a more relaxed frame of mind. Certain situations highlight how urgency can lead to hasty decisions that don't always serve my best interests. I recall instances where I had to make snap judgments, particularly in high-stakes environments, like during a job interview or while making critical choices in a project. I acted quickly to match the pace of the situation, only to realize later that I may have missed key factors that would have influenced a more thoughtful outcome. It's fascinating how the context influences our ability to think deeply. Sometimes, allowing a little space can uncover insights that a rushed decision simply cannot access. There are times when urgency is unavoidable, yet it's essential to recognize its effects. One practical strategy one lean on is pausing for just a moment to collect my thoughts, even when the clock is ticking. This brief moment of reflection allows me to align my values with the choices I make, not just reacting but actively engaging in the decision-making process. Everyone can benefit from taking a second to breathe and consider, as it often leads to more satisfying outcomes. Temporal discounting and its consequences. Temporal discounting is a fascinating psychological phenomenon that affects how we make decisions based on our perception of time. It refers to the tendency of people to value immediate rewards more highly than future rewards. When faced with choices, we often lean towards options that provide instant gratification, even if waiting might yield a greater benefit later. For example, consider a scenario where I can receive $100 today or $150 a month from now. Many would choose the immediate cash, largely because the thought of waiting makes the future reward feel less appealing. Our brains are wired to prioritize short-term gains, often leading us to underestimate the value of what we might achieve with patience. In understanding temporal discounting, it's essential to recognize that this behavior is woven into the fabric of our daily lives. Whether I'm deciding between going out tonight versus saving money for a vacation later, or opting for that slice of cake instead of a healthier option, I constantly grapple with this internal tug-of-war between my immediate desires and my long-term aspirations. This decision-making process highlights not just our cognitive biases, but also the emotions that drive them. I find it helps to pause and reflect on these influences. Doing so often leads to more thoughtful choices. When I dig deeper into how temporal discounting shapes my everyday choices, it becomes clear that it goes beyond mere preference for instant rewards. It can alter my overall goals and even impact my well-being. For instance, if I continually choose the short-term benefits of unhealthy eating or spending my savings, I may jeopardize my health and long-term financial stability. This realization can be unsettling, but it's also empowering. Understanding that today's decisions are influenced by my perception of the future can prompt meaningful change. This awareness opens the door to strategies for counteracting the effects of temporal discounting. One effective approach is to visualize future benefits more vividly. When I take the time to imagine the satisfaction of a healthy lifestyle or the joy of a secure retirement, the appeal of instant temptations diminishes. Another strategy involves setting smaller, manageable milestones that allow immediate rewards while still keeping long-term goals in sight. For instance, rewarding myself with a small treat when I hit a savings target can satisfy my desire for instant gratification while I work towards larger financial goals. Ultimately, being mindful of how temporal discounting influences my decisions helps me navigate my choices more effectively. By recognizing its power, I can better align my daily actions with my long-standing dreams. Chapter 7: Decision-Making in Groups. The Dynamics of Group Decisions. Group decision-making is a complex interplay of perspectives, emotions, and social dynamics. When I reflect on the times I've participated in group decisions, I recognize that unique dynamics come into play. Each member brings distinct experiences and biases, shaping how discussions unfold. It's fascinating to see how the group's collective energy can amplify or stifle individual voices. The balance between assertiveness and receptiveness plays a crucial role in whether we reach a consensus or linger in endless debates. Certain personalities tend to dominate conversations, while others might mesh into the background, leading to an unbalanced power dynamic that can skew the decision-making process. Getting to the heart of the matter often requires traversing diverse viewpoints and navigating these dynamics with care. It's about finding common ground, yet allowing for the fullness of every opinion, which can lead to deeper insights. There are undeniable benefits of making choices as a group. Sharing perspectives enriches the decision-making process, often leading to more creative solutions than one individual could conjure alone. In my experiences, witnessing the collective brainstorming sessions has been illuminating. Ideas that appear at first as mere fragments can merge into innovative strategies through collaborative dialogue. Furthermore, when groups arrive at decisions together, there's a built-in sense of ownership and accountability among members. This often leads to more committed implementation of those decisions down the line. However, this journey isn't without its challenges. Conflicts can arise, tensions can build, and personal agendas may clash, threatening the overall cohesion of the group. It's a delicate dance, balancing respect for diverse opinions while pushing through disagreements to reach a conclusion that everyone can stand behind. Recognizing these challenges allows us to be proactive in building a collaborative atmosphere. Ultimately, navigating the dynamics of group decisions is all about fostering an environment where every voice feels valued, and where the group is willing to engage in meaningful dialogue. Embracing these complexities can lead to not just better decisions, but also stronger connections among group members. A practical tip for facilitating effective group decisions is to encourage a culture of open communication. Invite each member to share their thoughts early in the discussion, ensuring everyone feels heard. When the group recognizes the importance of each participant's contribution, it allows for a richer dialogue that can inspire more significant innovations and outcomes. Consensus versus majority rule. Understanding the difference between consensus and majority rule in group decision-making can reshape how we approach collaboration. When a group reaches consensus, every member agrees, or at least does not actively oppose, the final decision. This can lead to more inclusive solutions, as everyone has had the opportunity to voice their opinions and contribute to the dialogue. However, achieving consensus often requires time, patience, and strong facilitation skills, as it demands open communication and a willingness to compromise. In contrast, majority rule is more straightforward. The option with the most votes wins. This method is quick and effective, particularly in larger groups where a decision is urgently needed. However, it often leaves minority opinions unheard, potentially sowing discord among members who feel excluded from the outcome. Exploring how both methods function in different settings reveals just how unique each approach can be, depending on the context and the dynamics of the group involved. Analyzing the effectiveness of consensus and majority rule reveals that neither approach is universally superior. Rather, their efficacy is situational. In environments where creativity and problem-solving are paramount, such as brainstorming sessions or collaborative projects, consensus might encourage richer discussions and uncover innovative solutions. On the other hand, majority rule often shines in scenarios that require decisiveness and speed, like voting on policy matters where time is of the essence. It's particularly effective in larger organizations or political landscapes, where the volume of individuals makes consensus impractical. However, understanding the specific needs of the group and the nature of the decision at hand can help determine the best method to use. By engaging thoughtfully with these processes, we can better navigate group dynamics and foster a more collaborative environment. Ultimately, both consensus and majority rule offer valuable tools for decision-making, and a hybrid approach might even be the key to balancing inclusivity and efficiency. When faced with a group decision, it's beneficial to assess the goals of the discussion and the preferences among the members. Encouraging open conversations about how decisions will be made can create a sense of ownership and commitment to the outcomes, regardless of the method used. This prepares the ground for more meaningful collaborations and richer relationships within the group. Overcoming groupthink. Groupthink is a psychological phenomenon that occurs when the desire for harmony or conformity in a group results in an irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcome. It stifles better decision-making because individuals suppress their own opinions, fail to explore alternative ideas, and ignore potential risks. I've seen firsthand how this can lead to disastrous outcomes. When everyone is nodding in agreement, it can be comforting, but it often prevents creative solutions from surfacing. People may feel pressured to align with the group's beliefs, fearing backlash if they raise dissenting opinions, and this can create an echo chamber where innovation is stifled and real issues go unaddressed. The stakes can be high when a team prioritizes consensus over critical thinking. Overcoming groupthink in teams requires intentionality and effort. One effective strategy is to create an environment where dissenting voices are encouraged and valued. I've found that establishing a norm where it's acceptable to question decisions can dramatically shift the dynamics of a team. Facilitating open discussions where everyone is invited to contribute can also make a significant difference. Additionally, assigning a devil's advocate role can help to systematically challenge prevailing viewpoints without making it personal. It can be uncomfortable to introduce conflict, but I've learned that constructive debates often lead to clearer thinking and stronger outcomes. Regularly revisiting decisions and asking, "Are we really okay with this?" keeps the dialogue open and allows for reassessment as circumstances change. Another practice I've found useful is breaking larger groups into smaller units. These smaller teams can brainstorm independently before rejoining the larger group. This approach allows for a diversity of ideas without the pressure of immediate consensus. Moreover, periodic anonymous surveys can provide insights from team members who might hesitate to speak up in a group setting, ensuring that everyone's voice is heard. Remember, The goal is not just to reach a decision quickly, but to reach the best possible decision. Keeping these strategies at the forefront helps me navigate group dynamics effectively, ultimately leading to better decision-making in my teams. Chapter 8: Technology and Decision-Making. The Influence of Algorithms and AI. Algorithms are everywhere in our daily lives, silently guiding our decisions and shaping our experiences. From the moment we wake up and check our phones to the time we go to bed, we are surrounded by algorithmic suggestions. Think about it. When you scroll through social media, notice how the content you see is curated just for you. This isn't random. It's the product of complex algorithms analyzing your past interactions, preferences, and even your mood. As I ponder the impact of these digital decision makers, I can't help but notice how they influence our choices, whether it's selecting the next binge-worthy series on a streaming service, deciding which restaurant to try, or even the items we consider purchasing online. While these algorithms aim to enhance our experiences by presenting tailored options, they can also inadvertently limit our exposure to new ideas and experiences. They often create a bubble, reinforcing our existing preferences while narrowing our horizons. This prompts me to wonder, how much are we truly engaging with our choices when they are primarily guided by unseen instructions instead of genuine exploration? As I reflect on AI-generated recommendations, the conversation takes a nuanced turn. The efficiency and convenience of these technologies are undeniable. They can save us time, simplifying decisions in a world overflowing with options. I've certainly found myself grateful for the personalized playlists or book suggestions that AI provides, which often feel like they come from a friend who knows me well. Yet, there are drawbacks that warrant careful consideration. For instance, the reliance on AI can lead to a kind of cognitive laziness, where we start to trust these recommendations too implicitly. When we allow algorithms to do the heavy lifting in decision-making, we risk losing the art of critical thinking and personal judgment. Additionally, AI can display biases, reflecting the data it is trained on, which can perpetuate stereotypes or skew public opinion. This duality in AI's influence is fascinating yet concerning, as it raises questions about autonomy and the essence of choice in our increasingly automated world. I often remind myself to tread carefully in this digitally curated space, balancing the benefits of AI with the need to remain curious and open-minded. The intertwining of our lives with algorithms and AI encourages me to emphasize the importance of intentionality in our choices. As we navigate this landscape, a practical tip is to actively seek out diverse perspectives and experiences outside of algorithmic suggestions. This could mean exploring a genre of music you wouldn't typically listen to, reading articles from viewpoints you don't usually consider, or even venturing into a new community group. By doing so, we become more aware of the mechanisms behind our decision-making. Taking time to step back and question why we respond the way we do to these recommendations can empower us to reclaim our agency in a world shaped by algorithms. The art of making choices should remain ours to cultivate, rather than becoming a mere extension of digital suggestions. Information overload in the digital age. The sheer volume of information available today can often feel overwhelming. I've experienced moments where scrolling through endless feeds or navigating through numerous articles left me feeling paralyzed. This is the essence of information overload, when the abundance of data becomes so excessive that it hampers our ability to make effective decisions. We stumble and falter under the weight of too many choices, unsure of what is truly relevant or trustworthy. It's a common scenario. A quick search for a health issue can dig up thousands of potential remedies, each claiming to be the best. Faced with conflicting opinions and endless statistics, how do we discern what is accurate? It often leads to fatigue and frustration, leaving us less informed than when we started. Identifying credible sources becomes a daunting task. The key challenge lies in filtering through this sea of information to reach clarity. Navigating information overload necessitates a conscious effort to streamline our intake. One effective strategy is to establish information boundaries. I started designating specific times for consuming news or browsing social media, allowing myself to engage without the constant pull of notifications. Curating my sources has also been a game changer. I regularly unfollow accounts or unsubscribe from newsletters that no longer serve my interests or values, creating a more manageable and nourishing information diet. Utilizing tools that help aggregate only the most relevant information can further enhance this experience. The focus should always be on quality over quantity. By prioritizing the sources that foster critical thinking and provide substance, I allow myself to engage with content that encourages reflection rather than simply reacting. These small shifts collectively empower us to reclaim control over our decision-making processes. Ultimately, cultivating awareness of our information consumption habits is invaluable. Regularly assessing what influences us and how we engage with information can illuminate patterns we might miss in the day-to-day hustle. Taking time to disconnect and reflect is equally important. Even short breaks from screens can refresh our minds and elevate our decision-making capacity. In practice, this might mean dedicating a few moments daily to meditate or step outside for fresh air. By adopting these practices, we not only combat information overload, but also foster a more mindful approach to the digital world that surrounds us. Ethical considerations in tech-based decisions. Technology offers incredible power to streamline our decision-making processes, but it also presents significant ethical dilemmas. One moment we might be relying on data analytics to inform choices, and the next we're faced with the stark reality that algorithms can perpetuate biases or invade privacy. As I navigate this digital landscape, I've often found myself questioning the implications of trusting technology to guide critical decisions. When we depend on automated systems, are we inadvertently neglecting our moral obligations? The scenario becomes even more complex when we consider the ever-evolving nature of technological advancements. Each leap forward brings with it new ethical challenges, from the effects of AI on job displacement to the moral implications of using data gathered from users without their explicit consent. These dilemmas highlight the need for deeper reflection on how we engage with technology and the choices we make based on it. To ensure that our use of technology remains ethical, it's crucial to cultivate a mindset of responsibility. Transparency plays a vital role. Understanding how an algorithm reaches its decisions is essential for accountability. One effective way to embed ethics into our technology use is to actively seek diverse perspectives. Engaging with stakeholders who are affected by our technological decisions enables us to build more inclusive and fair systems. Additionally, regular ethical audits of technology can uncover hidden biases or unintended consequences. I've learned that fostering an ethical environment means continuously questioning not just how well technology serves us, but also who it serves and at what cost. Technology should enhance our humanity, not diminish it. Simplifying complex decisions through tech should come with a commitment to uphold ethical standards that protect individual rights while promoting social good. Starting today, consider implementing a personal ethical review in your tech-based decisions. Before adopting a new tool or platform, ask yourself, who benefits from this technology? Are there potential drawbacks for marginalized groups? By approaching technology with a proactive ethical lens, we can help ensure that our choices contribute positively to the world around us. Remember, the responsible use of technology isn't merely about compliance. It's about inspiring a culture of ethical consciousness that influences how we integrate tech into our lives. Chapter 9. The Role of Intuition. Understanding gut feelings. Gut feelings are those instinctive reactions we often experience when faced with a decision or a situation. They manifest as a strong inner sense, a voice that seems to emerge from deep within us, guiding our choices even when logical reasoning might suggest otherwise. While some may dismiss these feelings as mere whims or hunches, they hold significant weight in our decision-making processes. Whether it's deciding on a career path, choosing whom to trust, or simply picking a meal, our gut feelings can provide insights that reason alone sometimes fails to illuminate. Recognizing their value can lead to more authentic decisions that align with our true selves. The science behind these intuitive responses is both fascinating and complex. Neuroscientific studies reveal that our brain processes information through two primary systems, the analytical and the intuitive. The analytical system is deliberate and slow, while the intuitive system functions quickly and automatically, often drawing from our past experiences and emotional knowledge. This means that when we get a gut feeling, our brain is actually working in conjunction with our body, utilizing a vast array of information gathered over time. For instance, our stomach may react with discomfort when something feels wrong. This physical response is a cue that we have learned to recognize over years of conditioning. Understanding this interplay between mind and body provides a deeper appreciation for the power of our gut instincts. As you navigate your own experiences, pay attention to those subtle nudges from within. Start observing the moments when you feel an inexplicable pull towards or away from something. These are not just random occurrences, but meaningful signals your body sends based on a lifetime of information. Cultivating a relationship with your gut feelings can enhance your decision-making ability and help you become more in tune with what truly matters to you. Consider keeping a journal to track these feelings alongside the decisions you make. Over time, you may notice patterns that can empower your future choices. When to trust your instincts. Identifying situations where intuition can guide effective decisions is often about tuning into those subtle cues that our mind processes faster than our conscious thoughts can articulate. I've found that when facing decisions in ambiguous scenarios, my gut feeling can provide clarity. For instance, during moments of uncertainty in a project, trusting my instincts about team dynamics or creative direction often leads to innovative solutions. This intuitive ability seems especially heightened when I've been immersed in a context for a long time, allowing my subconscious to pull together insights from various experiences. But intuition isn't infallible. I remind myself that emotional intelligence, understanding both my feelings and those of others, plays a key role in honing instinctual insights. It's like having a built-in compass that, when well calibrated, can navigate through the fog of uncertainty. Yet, there are also scenarios where gut feelings may lead us astray. Times when I've experienced a strong hunch, only to realize later it stemmed from biases or fear rather than genuine insight, have been valuable lessons. Decisions made in haste or under pressure often provoke a visceral reaction. I recall instances where my instinct prompted me to reject an idea or a person based merely on a fleeting feeling. Those moments taught me that while intuition can be powerful, it is crucial to differentiate between a protective instinct and a reaction to unfounded fears. When the stakes are high or emotions run deep, I find it wise to balance instinct with analytical thinking, seeking data or feedback to weigh against my gut feelings. Understanding when to lean on instincts and when to question them is an evolving skill. A practical tip I've adopted is to create a pause, a brief moment of reflection before making a decision. This allows me to check in with my feelings while collecting my thoughts. Whether it's taking deep breaths or jotting down my thoughts on paper, this step ensures I'm not just responding to a knee-jerk reaction, but actively engaging with my intuition in a thoughtful way. Recognizing this balance between trust and skepticism can lead to more confident, well-rounded decisions. The science of intuitive decision-making. Scientific research has shown us that intuitive decision-making is not merely a whimsical act, but is deeply rooted in the workings of our brain. When faced with choices, our brain often relies on a combination of past experiences and subconscious cues. Studies indicate that the brain processes vast amounts of information without our conscious awareness, drawing on these hidden resources to guide our decisions. This means that what feels like a gut feeling is actually the result of complex cognitive functions operating just beneath the surface. Neuroimaging studies demonstrate that when we experience intuition, specific areas of the brain, such as the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, light up, showing the intricate dance between instinct and reason. It fascinates me that our brains can synthesize information so quickly, allowing us to make decisions that feel right, even in situations where we may not have all the facts at our disposal. Now, let's dig deeper into how our previous experiences shape these intuitive responses. Each experience we have is stored away in our memory, and over time, these memories inform our instincts. For instance, if I encountered a particular situation that went poorly, my subconscious might be quick to tell me to steer clear of a similar scenario in the future. This learned response helps me avoid potential pitfalls, acting like an internal guide derived from my past. Often, these connections are so embedded in our psyche that we might not even recognize their influence in the moment. Through this lens, intuition becomes a form of wisdom, informed by everything we've lived and learned. What's even more intriguing is that our ability to draw on experiences may vary from person to person, influenced by our unique backgrounds, cultures, and environments. Our individual narratives shape how we interpret cues and make decisions. One practical takeaway from understanding the science behind intuitive decision-making is to cultivate a habit of reflecting on past choices. By consciously reviewing decisions and their outcomes, I've found that I can enhance my intuitive capabilities. It's about acknowledging the lessons buried within our experiences, which can sharpen our instincts over time. This process of reflection allows us to harness the power of intuition effectively, turning what may seem like a fleeting feeling into a well-informed response. The next time you find yourself facing a choice that stirs your gut, consider taking a moment to reflect on relevant past experiences that might inform your decision. This practice not only builds your confidence in intuition, but also deepens your understanding of how profoundly our experiences influence our everyday choices. Chapter 10: The Consequences of Decisions. Evaluating Outcomes, Success and Failure. To critically evaluate the outcomes of past decisions, I often find it helpful to reflect on both the processes and the results. Understanding what led to a particular outcome requires looking beyond just numbers or surface-level successes. It involves digging deep into the decision-making process, examining the criteria we used at the time, the data we had available, and any biases that may have influenced our thoughts. For instance, consider a project that did not meet its goals. At first glance, it may seem like a failure. However, as I analyze the situation, I realize that we may have succeeded in learning valuable lessons, enhancing our knowledge base for future endeavors. Therefore, it's crucial to separate the outcomes into multiple layers: what we intended to achieve, what actually happened, and why there was a discrepancy. This kind of reflection can transform setbacks into powerful stepping stones for future success. As I navigate through what constitutes a successful choice, I come to realize that several factors play a significant role. First, the alignment of the decision with our long-term goals can't be understated. Success often hinges on a clear purpose and a vision that transcends immediate circumstances. Then there's the aspect of adaptability. A successful choice usually comes with the ability to pivot when necessary. It's not just about sticking to a plan. It's about responding to new information or changing situations. I also consider the importance of timing. Sometimes, what seems like a perfect choice can falter simply due to poor timing, while an otherwise risky move can turn successful because we acted at the right moment. Lastly, the impact of collaboration and feedback cannot be overlooked. Decisions made in isolation can miss crucial perspectives, while engaging others can help refine our choices and lead to better outcomes. When reflecting on previous decisions, it's helpful to maintain a growth mindset. Shifting focus from labels of success and failure to lessons learned can provide clarity and insight. This not only allows for a more accurate assessment of past outcomes, but also paves the way for more informed decision-making in future scenarios. As I continue this journey of evaluating outcomes, I find it extremely beneficial to document these reflections. Keeping a decision journal or log enables me to track patterns over time and recognize what strategies yield the best results. This practice doesn't merely serve as a record. It's a valuable resource for growth, helping to crystallize insights that fuel personal and professional development. The concept of regret. Regret often creeps into our minds during decision-making, almost like an invisible advisor shadowing our choices. As I reflect on my own experiences, I understand that regret is a complex emotion that often emerges after reflecting on what could have been if I had chosen differently. It can be triggered by significant life decisions or even fleeting moments, like picking a restaurant for dinner. This feeling can work its way into our psyche, leading us to question our judgment and reassess our values. When faced with decisions, I have felt that familiar twinge of regret. Not because I made a poor choice, but because my mind drifts toward what I perceive I lost by not choosing a different path. I recognize now that this emotional response can sometimes be a valuable tool in understanding not only what I desire, but who I truly am. As I navigate through life's choices, I've learned that the influence of regret extends far beyond the initial moment of decision. It reshapes how I approach future choices. Each time I feel the pang of regret, I take a moment to analyze it. I consider what led me to my decision and why it didn't lead to the outcome I desired. This process is not only reflective but transformative. It prompts me to alter my future decisions. Regret often leads me to weigh options more carefully, to seek advice from others, or to trust my instincts more fully. I've discovered that while regret can be a painful reminder of missed opportunities, it can also cultivate a greater sense of awareness, helping me make more informed and thoughtful choices as I move forward in life. It's essential to shift our perspective on regret from something merely negative to a useful guide. Feelings of regret can clarify what we value most, illuminating the paths we truly wish to take. Instead of allowing regret to hold me back, I strive to use it as motivation for growth. The next time I find myself regretting a choice, I remind myself to extract the lesson from that experience. Each instance of regret can become an invitation to improve my decision-making process, enriching my future with the wisdom gained from the past. This mindset can transform regret from a burden into a beacon, guiding me on my journey through life. Learning from past decisions. The process of reflection holds immense power when it comes to sharpening our decision-making skills. Taking a step back to analyze our choices allows us to understand not just what worked, but why it worked. In my journey, I've realized that the most profound insights often arise from moments of contemplation, whether those moments follow a triumphant success or a poignant failure. The act of reflecting enables us to grasp the underlying factors driving our decisions, revealing patterns that might not be obvious at first glance. It shifts our focus from a reactive stance to a proactive one, empowering us to think critically about our paths forward. This introspection creates a rich tapestry of wisdom that we can draw upon as we navigate future choices, ensuring that we are better equipped to make informed decisions. Ultimately, integrating reflection and learning into our daily routines can transform our decision-making capabilities. Each decision, big or small, is an opportunity cloaked in a lesson. By actively seeking to understand our past choices, we can create a roadmap for the future, grounded in wisdom. As a practical tip, try to set aside a specific time each week to reflect on recent decisions, writing down key takeaways from both the successes and the setbacks. This conscious practice not only reinforces your learning, but also enhances your confidence in future choices. Embrace each experience as a teacher and watch how the landscape of your decision-making evolves. Chapter 11. Tools for better decision-making. Frameworks and models to consider. When it comes to decision-making, I often find myself relying on well-established frameworks that help clarify complex situations. There are several popular decision-making frameworks, each having its unique strengths and applicable contexts. For instance, the SWOT analysis allows us to assess our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in a clear and organized manner. This framework is particularly useful when entering new ventures or considering significant changes within an organization. The decision matrix, on the other hand, enables us to weigh various options against multiple criteria, helping to eliminate bias by providing a structured environment for evaluation. Knowing when to utilize these frameworks is essential. They can guide us in rooting our decisions in solid analysis rather than in gut feelings alone. Choosing the right model depends on the nature of the decision and external factors, like time constraints and data availability, making adaptability crucial in our approach. Structured models play a vital role in enhancing the quality of our decisions. I've personally experienced the power of frameworks like the Kepner-Trego method, which breaks down problems into manageable parts, fostering a more focused analysis. This method encourages us to clarify the problem before jumping to solutions, reducing the noise that often clouds our judgment. I've found that using structured approaches not only promotes rationality, but also instills confidence in our chosen path. Moreover, they create a common language for teams, allowing for collaborative decision-making that is thoughtful and inclusive. As we engage with these models, we begin to realize how they help address biases, both personal and collective, that can derail sound judgment. They guide us in considering multiple perspectives and in systematically evaluating the impacts of our choices. In navigating today's decision landscape, it's crucial to remember that frameworks and structured models are not one-size-fits-all solutions. They are tools designed to enhance our decision-making capabilities, but should be employed with thoughtful consideration. Engaging with a framework can provide a fresh perspective, and the act of systematically analyzing a problem can sometimes reveal insights we might never have discovered through informal discussions. A practical tip is to take a moment before diving into a decision to assess which framework fits the situation best. Reflect on what you need to clarify and what aspects require deeper analysis. By consciously selecting the appropriate tools for your decisions, you'll not only improve the quality of your outcomes, but also build trust in the decision-making process itself. Decision trees and flowcharts. Decision trees serve as powerful visual aids that help to clarify complex choices we face in our daily lives. I have found that when faced with a tough decision, drawing out the possible paths can illuminate the best course of action more effectively than simply mulling over the options mentally. Each branch of the tree represents a potential choice, with further branches showing subsequent decisions or outcomes. This not only simplifies our thought process, but also allows us to visualize the repercussions of our actions. For instance, considering a job offer can involve multiple factors like salary, work-life balance, company culture, and growth potential. When plotted on a decision tree, the interconnections and priorities of each factor become clearer, leading me, and hopefully you, towards informed decisions rather than emotional responses. Flowcharts complement decision trees by providing an organized format to depict processes and workflows. They help in breaking down intricate sequences into manageable chunks, which is quite beneficial when you need to make systematic decisions. For instance, when launching a project, a flowchart can illustrate the step-by-step approach to reach a goal. I remember using a flowchart when trying to make a decision between various marketing strategies. This visual representation allowed me to see which methods led to the desired outcomes while clearly outlining the steps to achieve them. By mapping it out visually, it was easier to align decisions with strategic objectives and avoid common pitfalls. The beauty of both decision trees and flowcharts lies in their ability to transform overwhelming choices into straightforward paths. Whenever you're presented with a challenging decision, I encourage you to take a moment to sketch it out. Not only will it provide clarity, but it will also empower you to pursue choices with confidence and a clear direction. Embracing this practice can lead to better decision-making and ultimately contribute to achieving your goals more effectively. Technology aids, apps, and software. Many of us find ourselves grappling with choices every day, whether they are small decisions about what to eat or significant ones about career changes. Luckily, there are numerous apps and software designed to simplify these processes, helping us make more informed decisions. Take, for example, platforms like Trello or Asana, which are fantastic for organizing thoughts and tasks visually. They allow us to break down complex decisions into manageable pieces, offering a clear pathway to evaluate our options without feeling overwhelmed. Additionally, decision-making apps like Decidify or ChoiceMap present a structured framework to weigh the pros and cons of each choice, enabling us to visualize potential outcomes and select the best path forward. Integrating these tools into our daily routines empowers us to approach decisions with confidence, transforming the arduous process of choice into a more manageable task. While utilizing these technology aids, it's essential to assess their effectiveness continually. Not every app or software will work for everybody, as personal preferences and specific needs vary widely. To truly understand the impact of these tools, we can engage in self-reflection after using them. For instance, did a particular app streamline your decision-making process or create more confusion? Feedback loops are valuable here. They not only clarify whether a tool is genuinely helpful, but also help developers to iterate and improve their offerings. It may be worth noting that some tools incorporate advanced algorithms that learn from our patterns over time. These adaptive solutions can offer unprecedented support in our decision-making endeavors, nudging us toward better choices based on past behaviors. Thus, keeping track of our experiences with these tools becomes vital. We should log our feelings about their effectiveness and adjust our usage accordingly. As we harness the power of technology to aid our decision-making processes, it's beneficial to remain open-minded and experimental. Trying out different tools can unearth surprising benefits we might not have anticipated. Sometimes the simplest tool, like a note-taking app, can cultivate clarity when weighing choices. Familiarize yourself with a variety of resources, ensuring you find a mix that resonates with your style. The right application may just be a click away, waiting to enhance the way you make decisions and guiding you towards better outcomes. Chapter 12: Ethical Decision-Making. Defining ethics in decision-making. Ethics can often feel like a slippery concept, especially when we navigate the choices in our lives. To clarify what ethics truly means in the context of decisions, we can start by examining our values, beliefs, and societal norms. When making a choice, whether it be personal or professional, we naturally weigh our options against what we believe is right or wrong. This internal moral compass steers us, comprised of our upbringing, culture, and experiences. By defining ethics as the framework that governs our judgments about right and wrong, we begin to see how it shapes the decisions we make daily. Understanding the importance of ethical considerations is crucial, not just in business, but also in our personal lives. It is easy to overlook ethics when the pressure to succeed is high or when we face difficult choices. But these moments are precisely when our values should guide us the most. Ethical decision-making fosters trust, credibility, and respect, forming the backbone of sustainable relationships, whether with customers, family, or friends. In a world that often prioritizes outcomes over processes, remembering to incorporate ethical practices can set us apart and define our integrity. Listening to our conscience and considering the wider implications of our choices can lead to not just better outcomes for ourselves, but also a positive impact on those around us. As we go about our decision-making processes, it's essential to ask ourselves questions that challenge our perspectives and assumptions. What impact will my decision have on others? Am I staying true to my values? Taking a moment to reflect on these questions can clarify our thought processes and help us commit to decisions that align with our ethical beliefs. Practicing mindfulness in this context allows us to become more intentional in shaping our actions in a way that ultimately contributes to a better society. Balancing personal interests and ethics. It's intriguing how often I find myself at a crossroads where my personal interests collide with my ethical responsibilities. This tension is a part of life that challenges us constantly. For instance, there may be a situation at work where a promotion might benefit me greatly, yet it could be gained at the expense of a colleague who is equally deserving. In such moments, I feel the weight of my choices. Am I prioritizing a potential personal gain over the fairness and integrity I strive to uphold? This inner conflict is not just about the bigger, more obvious decisions. It permeates our everyday interactions. It forces us to question our motivations, inspect our values, and often leads us to make compromises that can shake our self-perception and ethical stance. The reality is that acknowledging this tension is the first step toward navigating it thoughtfully. We must remain aware that our decisions can have ripple effects beyond our immediate benefits, impacting colleagues, friends, and the broader community. To navigate this complex landscape effectively, it helps to have a framework guiding our ethical decisions in alignment with our personal values. One approach is to create a set of guiding principles derived from self-reflection. I often ask myself reflective questions. What truly matters to me? How do my values align with the choices I face? It's beneficial to consider the long-term implications of my decisions rather than merely seeking short-term gains. Having a clear understanding of my core values not only helps rectify the internal conflict, but also serves as a measurement against which I can gauge my actions. Furthermore, discussing dilemmas with trusted mentors or friends can offer fresh perspectives and illuminate ethical blind spots I may have overlooked. In this interconnected world, it's essential to remember the importance of empathy and transparency in decision-making. Making choices that honor both personal aspirations and ethical principles cultivates integrity and trust, not only in oneself, but with everyone involved. No one claims this balancing act is easy, but a practical tip I've found invaluable is to take a moment to breathe before making a decision. Slowing down allows for deeper reflection and consideration of how my choices may align with both personal interests and ethical obligations. When faced with a dilemma, it can be beneficial to pause and visualize the potential outcomes for all parties involved. Reinforcing the idea that life is not just about personal achievements, but also about contributing positively to the world can be a guiding light when the road becomes murky. Case studies in ethical dilemmas. Analyzing featured case studies showcasing ethical decision-making can be eye-opening. I've often found myself reflecting on the complexity involved in making decisions where morality and professional responsibility collide. For instance, there's a famous case involving a pharmaceutical company that faced a decision about whether to prioritize profits or patient safety. They had developed a life-saving drug, but discovered a potential side effect that could lead to serious health issues. The pressure to maintain shareholder confidence was immense. This situation reveals the often gray areas where ethical decisions exist. It challenges us to consider the extent to which profits should ever overshadow the imperative of human health and well-being. Each case study like this serves as a reminder that ethics is not always a clean choice between right and wrong, but often requires navigating a maze of competing interests and values. Drawing lessons from real-world ethical dilemmas faced by individuals and organizations offers a practical lens through which we can understand our own decisions. Take, for example, the whistleblower who exposed safety violations in a manufacturing plant. Despite knowing that their actions could lead to job losses, they felt a moral obligation to act. The fallout was significant, sparking widespread discussion about ethical responsibility in corporate environments. This experience illustrates the courage needed to stand for what is right, especially when the stakes are high. What I've learned is that ethical dilemmas often test our character and can serve as pivotal moments that define us. Whether we are in positions of power or simply individuals in our everyday lives, these cases teach us to weigh our choices carefully and consider the broader impact our decisions might have on others. As I reflect on these scenarios, I realize that they cultivate a rich ground for discussion and introspection. Each case is a lesson, urging us to think critically about our values and the influence our choices have on the world around us. It's essential to remember that our decisions, no matter how small they may seem in the moment, contribute to a larger narrative of ethical responsibility. The next time I am faced with a tough choice, whether in business or in personal life, I will consider the case studies I've analyzed, the lessons learned, and the potential ripple effects my actions could create. Engaging with these dilemmas helps us become more thoughtful decision makers, emphasizing the importance of vigilance and integrity in all our endeavors. Chapter 13: The Influence of Fear and Uncertainty. How fear affects our choices. Fear is a powerful emotion that plays a significant role in our decision-making process. When I feel fear, it often clouds my judgment, making it difficult to think clearly. This stems from our evolutionary history. Fear acted as a survival mechanism, alerting us to danger and guiding our actions. However, in modern life, this same instinct can lead us to hesitate when making choices, whether they involve career moves, personal relationships, or even simple day-to-day decisions. Understanding the psychological components of fear reveals that it stimulates our amygdala, the part of the brain that processes emotions, which can trigger a fight-or-flight response. This means that when faced with a decision, fear can push us to flee from potential threats, or alternatively, it can create an overwhelming desire to confront challenges head-on, depending on our individual predispositions. This emotional response often leads to a paradox where the very fear that protects us can also hold us back. For example, when considering a new job opportunity, I might feel fear about the risks involved, such as potential failure or the unknown aspects of a new environment. This fear might lead to inaction, keeping me in a comfortable but unfulfilling situation. It's crucial to recognize that understanding our fear allows us to separate the rational apprehensions from irrational worries that can paralyze us, enabling us to make more informed decisions. Fear can act as a double-edged sword in our lives. On one hand, it can be crippling, stifling our ability to act. I recall a time when I stood frozen at the edge of a decision, pondering all the ways it could go wrong. The fear of failure loomed large, and despite knowing that change was necessary, my mind was dominated by what-ifs. In this state, I was paralyzed, unable to move forward because of anxiety over the potential negative outcomes. This paralysis often leads us to stay within our comfort zones, even when we know it doesn't serve us well. A practical approach to manage fear in decision-making is to practice mindfulness. By taking a moment to breathe and center myself, I can gain clarity on whether fear is a rational response to the situation at hand or an irrational fear that is holding me back. This simple act of mindfulness helps me to assess my choices more objectively, enabling me to confront my fears rather than run from them. Risk perception and decision outcomes. Examining how we perceive risk unveils the complexity of our decision-making processes. Each day, we make decisions that require us to assess risks, from the mundane choices like what to eat for lunch to significant life-altering decisions like changing careers. Our perception of risk is influenced by a myriad of factors, including past experiences, cultural background, and even the specific context we find ourselves in. For instance, someone who has experienced a car accident may perceive driving as riskier than someone who hasn't. This perception isn't just a personal quirk, it affects the choices we make. When we let fear cloud our judgment, we may avoid beneficial opportunities, an interesting job offer or a chance at a new relationship. Conversely, an underestimation of risk can lead us to engage in reckless behavior without considering potentially negative outcomes. Balancing these perceptions is critical for making informed decisions. Discussing the role of risk assessment in predicting outcomes reveals its essential place in every successful decision-making framework. Risk assessment involves evaluating the likelihood of various outcomes based on available data and our risk perceptions. It's a systematic approach that helps us anticipate possible consequences, providing a clearer picture of what might happen after a decision is made. For instance, when a person considers investing in a new venture, they not only rely on their gut feeling, but also assess market trends, financial forecasts, and community responses. This comprehensive risk assessment process empowers us to set realistic expectations and prepares us for potential drawbacks. A careful examination of risks also fosters adaptability. We are more equipped to pivot or adjust our strategies should circumstances change. Engaging in thorough risk assessment helps safeguard against impulsive decisions, allowing us to weigh pros and cons systematically. Understanding risk and its assessment works wonders in our personal and professional lives. It encourages us to consider multiple perspectives before acting, leading to more thoughtful decision-making. A practical tip for enhancing your risk assessment skills is to adopt a structured approach. Use a simple framework that allows you to list potential risks alongside their possible outcomes. Being intentional about considering various scenarios provides clarity and helps navigate through uncertainty efficiently. Strategies to manage decision-related anxiety. Decision-making can often feel overwhelming, and that sense of anxiety can grip us tightly. To manage this anxiety, employing specific techniques can make a notable difference. I've found that breaking down the decision into smaller, more manageable parts is incredibly helpful. Instead of trying to tackle an entire decision at once, I focus on one aspect of the choice at a time. This could mean listing the possible outcomes and thinking through the potential consequences of each. Another technique I use is to set a time limit for making a decision. This helps prevent the mind from spiraling into overanalysis while still allowing enough space to think things through. Journaling about my thoughts can also be therapeutic, as it often clarifies my feelings and concerns, making them less daunting. Mindfulness has played a crucial role in my journey to enhance clarity during decision-making. When I practice mindfulness, I allow myself to sit with my thoughts without judgment. This technique enables me to observe my anxiety without getting swept away by it. I breathe deeply, focus on the present moment, and remind myself that it's okay to feel uncertain. Cognitive approaches work hand in hand with mindfulness. I challenge distorted thoughts that arise when I'm faced with a decision. By asking questions like, what evidence do I have for my fears? Or what would I advise a friend in this situation? I can redirect my thinking to a more rational perspective. Through these practices, I not only manage my anxiety, but also gain clarity that helps in making more informed decisions. As you navigate through your own decision-making processes, consider setting aside moments for quiet reflection. Whether through mindfulness exercises, journaling, or simply allowing yourself a break from a decision, creating space for introspection can yield surprising insights. The next time you're faced with a tough choice, remember that even a small change in how you approach the situation can help ease the anxiety and unlock clearer thinking. Chapter 14: The Future of Decision-Making. Predictions for Decision-Making Trends. Emerging trends are paving the way for a new era in decision-making, one driven more by data and less by gut feelings. As technology evolves, we will see a greater reliance on artificial intelligence and machine learning to analyze patterns and inform choices. This shift challenges traditional methods and requires us to adapt. In the near future, tools that once seemed futuristic will become commonplace, enabling individuals and organizations alike to make informed decisions at breakneck speed. The conversation around ethical AI will grow as we navigate the balance between automation and human insight. Decision-making will no longer be a solo endeavor, but rather a collaborative process where diverse perspectives, especially those from different backgrounds and cultures, will enrich our understanding and lead to more rounded outcomes. Several key catalysts are driving changes in how we approach decision-making. The rapid advancement of technology is undeniably at the forefront as digital tools become more accessible and intuitive. With the increase in data availability, organizations recognize the importance of using this information wisely. Furthermore, today's global challenges, from climate change to economic shifts, are compelling decision-makers to think more broadly and inclusively. The emerging trend of remote work has also transformed corporate cultures, bringing about a new emphasis on transparent communication and collective problem-solving. As we reevaluate our priorities, we notice a heightened focus on sustainability and mental well-being, which influences both personal and organizational decision frameworks. To navigate this evolving landscape effectively, embracing lifelong learning becomes essential. Staying curious and open to new methodologies will equip us with the tools necessary for making thoughtful decisions in a complex world. It's vital to not only harness technology, but also uphold the human aspect of decision-making, ensuring that empathy and understanding remain at the core of our choices. The role of artificial intelligence in future choices. Artificial intelligence, AI, is already beginning to reshape how we make decisions in numerous fields, from healthcare to finance and even daily personal choices. Imagine a world where complex emotional dynamics, vast datasets, and unpredictable variables are managed by intelligent algorithms. Picture a doctor consulting an AI-powered system that analyzes patient histories, genetic information, and the latest medical research to recommend personalized treatment plans. This isn't science fiction, it's the future unfolding before us. In essence, AI can sift through enormous amounts of information far beyond the capacity of the human brain, identifying patterns and making predictions that enhance decision-making. As we rely more on these systems, we might discover that our choices can be augmented by AI, which prompts us to rethink the importance of human intuition alongside algorithmic suggestions. However, with this profound shift comes a significant ethical dilemma. If AI has the potential to guide our decisions, we must ask ourselves about the implications. Who is accountable when an AI's suggestion leads to a negative outcome? How do we ensure that these systems are built with fairness and integrity, free from biases that could skew choices in detrimental ways? These questions become especially pertinent as we consider the weight of decisions made in areas such as criminal justice or employment, where a poorly designed algorithm could have devastating effects on people's lives. As we move forward, it is vital to engage in conversations about the moral responsibilities of AI developers and the importance of transparency in AI processes. Balancing innovation with ethical considerations is crucial, as we need to embrace technology while safeguarding our values. To navigate this ever-evolving landscape, we can adopt a proactive approach by being informed and involved in discussions around AI. Awareness is key in letting our voices be heard about how these technologies will shape our realities. As individuals, we should critically analyze AI-generated suggestions, understanding that while these tools can provide clarity, the final decisions still rest with us. By maintaining this perspective, we can harness the benefits of AI without compromising our ethical standards or personal autonomy. Preparing for unknown challenges. It's impossible to predict every challenge that might come our way, but we can outline strategies to help us anticipate and prepare for future obstacles in decision-making. First, it's essential to foster a mindset that embraces uncertainty. This involves identifying potential risks in various contexts, whether in personal life, work, or broader societal issues. By examining past experiences where unforeseen challenges arose, we can better visualize what might happen in the future. It's also helpful to seek out diverse perspectives. Engaging in conversations with people from different walks of life can illuminate pathways we might not have considered, revealing potential challenges in their unique experiences. Through scenario planning, we can create a toolkit of responses tailored to a variety of situations, enhancing our preparedness for whatever unknowns lie ahead. Adaptability is the cornerstone of effective decision-making in the face of uncertainty. This skill allows us to pivot when confronted with unexpected challenges. Cultivating adaptability means developing a comfort level with change. It's important to remain open-minded and willing to adjust our strategies as new information comes to light. Instead of clinging rigidly to a predetermined plan, we should focus on the underlying principles guiding our decisions. By doing so, we remain grounded while being flexible enough to mold our approach based on the circumstances. Remember, being adaptable also means being willing to learn from setbacks and using those lessons to inform our subsequent choices. When preparing for the unexpected, consider keeping a decision journal. This tool allows you to document the decisions you make, the reasoning behind them, and the outcomes. Over time, this creates a personal compendium of experiences that can serve as a reference during challenging times. Reflecting on past choices helps identify what worked well and what didn't, ultimately making you more effective in navigating future uncertainties. Chapter 15. Personalizing your decision-making style. Identifying your decision-making strengths. Encouraging self-reflection is crucial when it comes to recognizing our personal decision-making strengths. Taking the time to think about my past choices, I realized that certain patterns emerge. Every time I faced a decision, my instincts guided me, informed by previous experiences. I've learned that reflecting on these moments not only clarifies how I typically respond, but also highlights the strengths that surface during those critical times. I began asking myself questions like, what decisions have I made that I'm proud of? And what factors influenced those successful outcomes? This self-exploration journeys through the terrain of my history, uncovering the moments of courage, intuition, and reasoning that reveal my inherent strengths in decision-making. Providing tools to assess individual decision-making styles can be transformative in understanding oneself better. One effective method is to keep a decision diary where I document choices, thought processes, and outcomes. This allows me to track how my decisions align with my instincts and values over time. Another useful tool is personality assessments, which can shed light on my inclinations and cognitive approaches. Taking the time to explore frameworks like the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator or the DISC assessment helps in categorizing my decision-making style, whether I am more analytical or intuitive. Engaging with these exercises has opened my eyes to the mechanics behind my decision-making processes, serving as a compass to navigate future choices. Realizing and honing my decision-making strengths isn't merely about identifying what I do well. It's about having an awareness that fosters growth and understanding in every decision I face. By embracing self-reflection and utilizing the right assessment tools, I become equipped not only to celebrate my strengths, but also to work on areas needing development. The next time I find myself at a crossroads, I can remind myself of the skills honed through practice, making me a more confident decision-maker. Whenever I'm confronted with a choice, whether it's personal or professional, it's beneficial to revisit those insights. Taking a moment to pause, reflect, and assess will guide me toward making choices that are true to who I am. Adapting strategies to fit personal values. The importance of aligning decision-making strategies with our personal values cannot be overstated. When I think about the choices I've made in my life, it becomes clear that my decisions have consistently reflected what I hold most dear. Our values are the guiding principles that influence our actions and choices. When there is harmony between our values and our decisions, we often feel more fulfilled and confident in our paths. Conversely, when we stray from those values, even small decisions can lead to feelings of discomfort or regret. It's like trying to wear a pair of shoes that don't fit. The discomfort is a constant reminder that something is off. By ensuring that our decision-making strategies resonate with our core values, we pave the way for authenticity and satisfaction in our daily lives. Offering tailored decision-making approaches is a powerful way to exemplify how we can best serve ourselves. For instance, if one of my core values is sustainability, I have learned to filter my choices through that lens. Whether I'm deciding what company to support, what products to purchase, or even what transportation method to choose, I consciously seek out options that align with my commitment to the environment. This can mean opting for reusable products over single-use ones, choosing public transport or biking over driving, or supporting brands that prioritize eco-friendly practices. Similarly, when it comes to career choices, reflecting on values like community or innovation can help guide decisions that lead to greater job satisfaction. Each of these tailored approaches illustrates that decision-making doesn't have to be a one-size-fits-all scenario. Instead, it can be personalized to reflect who we truly are. As you navigate your own decisions, take a moment to reflect on your values and how they can inform your choices. Create a mental or physical checklist of your top values and use it as a framework when faced with important decisions. This practice not only clarifies your intentions, but also empowers you to make choices that feel right in your heart. When your actions align with your beliefs, you create a life that feels more integrated and purposeful. Embracing this alignment is a profound way to enhance your decision-making process and overall well-being. Building a decision-making toolkit. Compiling practical resources and tools for enhanced decision-making comes down to understanding what works best for me and can work for you too. I've found that a diverse range of tools, like decision matrices, flowcharts, and even simple pros and cons lists, can significantly aid in weighing my options. Online platforms such as Trello or Notion have offered me ways to organize my thoughts visually, which has often led to clearer insights. The beauty of utilizing digital tools is the ease of access and the innovative ways we can engage with them. I always consider incorporating apps that promote mindfulness and introspection into my routine, like journaling apps. Reflecting on past decisions within these digital spaces helps me to understand my thought patterns better and recognize any recurring biases that might cloud my judgment. Highlighting techniques to refine and personalize my decision-making toolkit is an ongoing journey of discovery. I've learned that it's crucial to adapt these tools to suit my unique situation. For instance, prioritization frameworks like the Eisenhower matrix can help me distinguish between urgency and importance, but only if I customize them to reflect my specific values and goals. Moreover, creating a habit of seeking out diverse perspectives can enrich my decision-making process. Discussing ideas with trusted friends or mentors often brings fresh insights I hadn't considered. I also find that setting aside dedicated time for deep thinking, much like a brainstorming session, allows me to mull over my choices without distractions, which can often lead to breakthroughs. The key is not just to have a toolkit, but to continually refine it, ensuring it evolves alongside my own growth and experiences. Experiment with different tools and techniques to see what resonates most with you. A useful practice is to keep a decision journal where you can document not just the outcomes of your choices, but also your reasoning and feelings at the time. Over time, this will provide a rich resource for understanding how you think and decide, allowing you to make more informed choices in the future. As we conclude the science of decision-making, decoding the art of choices, take a moment to reflect on the insights and strategies we've explored. From the intricate workings of your brain to the external forces shaping your choices, this journey has uncovered the profound interplay of science, psychology, and intuition in decision-making. Every decision, whether small or life-changing, carries an opportunity, not just to act but to learn, grow, and align your actions with your values and aspirations. By understanding the processes that underlie your choices, you've taken the first step toward mastering the art of decision-making. But knowledge is only the beginning. Apply what you've learned to your daily life. Use the frameworks and tools we've discussed to evaluate your options with clarity, navigate uncertainty with confidence, and embrace even the toughest choices with wisdom. Remember, there is no perfect decision, only the one you choose to make meaningful. At Mindful Literary, we believe that awareness is power, and with this audiobook, you now have the power to make decisions that not only serve your goals but also enrich your life. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the science of choices. May your future decisions be informed, intentional, and aligned with the life you aspire to create. Keep questioning, keep growing, and keep making choices that resonate with your highest self.